questions, please.
You did say you would talk a bit more about the forehand.
The forehand. Needing the direction of the forehand and how important the forehand is. Huh?
Well.
Yeah, you said today in the lesson that you want to talk about that.
Yeah, if you want.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Who saw the last DVD?
Yes.
So this is the subject. It's in it.
Again. Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Who saw it? Not many people.
Ja, neben der Vorhand.
Ja.
The importance of the forehand.
All my students have to watch it. I mean, this is the German teacher.
It's very usual and classical to consider that when that in a horse, properly ridden horse, everything originates in the hindquarters. Good. Let's ask the horse for that. What is his opinion? Thank you. Because, you know, the theories in riding are important, but they should refer to what the horse is, not to any prejudice or dogma or whatever. It's risky. Good. So let's see that. If you are watching, it makes me thinking about a very short advice from Bedin. He was a boucherist out of by chance. His advice was watch and think. So let's watch before thinking. Look at horses when they are free, in liberty, or at the launch when you do nothing special. How are they turning?
Head outside.
Yeah, head high, generally a bit high, and out. I mean, it can happen that they have a look to the inside because their attention is attracted by something. But they nearly always turn with the head out. Good. So it's interesting to know why. And then, yeah, I would say the horse is not classical because he should turn like that. The ears, the neck, the shoulders, the quarters, the body, well bent from the paw to the tail. If he were reading the riding books. But this they never do. It's not that once a while they do, they never do. And there is a book I'm often referring to. It's from a dressage Olympic champion. He did a complete book from the young horse to the Grand Prix special with photos from the air. So circles, shoulder in, travers, half pass, whatever you want. So there are hundreds of photos. You never see on any photo that. And the horse is excellent, could not be better, because he had a black line on the back, you know. There are many horses there, but so, and what you see is this. The neck is bent more or less. This depends, right? And the rest is like that. In any exercise. So, why? Because this is the dream. But the reality is more simple or more complex. No, more complex. A horse moves like that. I exaggerate the thing in purpose. The horse is the locomotion. The basis of the locomotion is in the periodic ondulations of the spine. It makes that. A snake are doing. So the vertebrae rotate and bend. There are parts they don't bend at all on the withers, for instance. The sacrum, it's fused vertebrae, so they cannot bend. There are parts where it's bending a bit, others very little. But anyway, the general phenomenon is that the horse is undulating his spine. And when the head goes one side, when the neck is bending one side, the back is bending the other one. It's a kind of a compensation like that. Good. And so, the legs converge on the hollow side, and they diverge on the convex side. This is the way they move. And when the back stops swinging right-left like that, what happens? Pacing. Yes. Because the legs start moving by lateral pairs. The legs keep on one side, keep parallel instead of doing a V and a reverse V. They keep like that, and then it makes the horse pacing. So a pacing horse is a horse not swinging his back anymore, with too much weight on the shoulders, or flexing generally. Good. So, if the back stops swinging right-left, the locomotion becomes completely abnormal. Good. So, when a horse is walking or trotting on the circle, his back, even if he's on the circle, his back keeps swinging right-left. So, it's completely incompatible. There is a total incompatibility between moving, swinging the back, swinging the spine, the whole spine, and keeping bent. It's impossible. So you can manipulate a horse and keep him like that. The osteopath can do. You can also do it if you want. But in halt, as soon as you go, it's again doing that. And you can feel it when you are riding a horse on the circle, even perfectly doing, so neck well bent. Do you feel that your legs keep like that all the time? No, they go on doing that. So that's clear. So the general, as it is limited, the general direction of the spine looks straight, and it's doing a bit that more or less that right-left, but on the back is never keeping bent one side, absolutely never. So this dogma of the overall curvature is something you can forget. It has no reality. It looks nice on the paper, but the horse is never doing. So why to bother him with the spur in, the spur out to bend the body of the horse? And yeah, seriously, do you think that with our little legs we can keep bent the body of an animal of 500 kilos? I mean, this is not serious. This is not realistic at all. And working against the locomotion, because the horses, they need to do that. So forget completely. And this is the reason why the horses don't do it. I mean, they cannot, and so they don't need. So why is the horse bending the neck to the right in order to go left? It's for balance reasons, because you know, there is something people don't talk enough about in riding, it's balance, or they just use the word but no clear idea. Good. Why is the horse bending to the right when he wants to go left? Because to go left, the horse needs to shift some weight more to the left shoulder. And it's with the right bend the horse is doing that the easiest way. We do the same. Huh? If you want to push something with your shoulder, a door for instance, boom, huh? You do that. You don't put your head up because being the head in the water, it's not good. But if you want to put weight on this leg, it's easier by bending the other side. And when a horse lies down, for instance, on his left side, how is he doing? He's bending to the right a lot and then back. If you want to teach a horse to lie down to the left, you bend him to the right. If you try to do it, bend him to the left, you will never succeed. So, and I could give many examples of this kind. So, for a horse, the easiest way to shift the weight to the left shoulder, it's by bending to the right, not by bending to the left. So, this is clear. So, it means the change of direction is not a matter of mechanic and putting the horse on the curved line as a train is on the rails. It's not that at all. It's a matter of balance. So more weight to the left shoulder, go left. And it's easier with the right bend. So some conclusions. If the horse is bent to the right and you turn right, it's a way to prevent the horse from too much coming on the right shoulder. You can feel that especially when the horse makes the decision on his own, if you turn right with the right bend, you will have a nice progressive turn as you want. If you turn right with the neck to the left and the horse decides, he's putting his head to the left and then he's falling to the right. He's turning very quick. So, if you want to turn right, controlling the turn, it's better with the right bend. If you want to turn, I would say short and easy, that's better with the bend to the outside. So, the bend to the right is a way to turn short to the left. The right bend is a way to limit the balance to the right. So, for instance, if you want to widen a circle, how are you doing? Bend in. If you absolutely need to narrow a circle, especially in canter, and look at the jumping riders when they have to turn short between two fences, they generally do it with the head out. It's much easier like that. Not always, but if they really need, up, like that. Okay? So it means that in any training, when you prepare something, when you have a clear need to put weight on the left shoulder, it's with the right bend you have to do it. Okay? For instance, start canter rightly. Come there and go. And there are There are things like that. When a horse is naturally bent to the right, what are the consequences? Crooked to the right, according to the direction the horse goes. Why? Because the tendency to keep the neck a bit bent to the right is keeping the weight more on the left shoulder. So the shoulders tend to go a bit left and the quarters to the right. So it means that this horse, spontaneously, he will like to start canter on right lead, he will not like on left lead. So which is confirming that the proper balance to start right lead canter is to the left the weight, not to the right. You know, it's there is a chain of conclusions like that. So if you want to teach this horse when he's a beginner to start left lead, and he doesn't like, he will have to learn to bend. He has to learn what is neck crane, especially to the left. So when each time you can push his shoulders to the right, shift the weight on the right shoulder, then you have a chance to start left lead. Other things, at the lunge, especially. What is fundamental? Send the shoulders away. So if you want that the horse is is in balance on the circle, not falling in, you don't never let him the head out. If his head out is narrowing the circle, it doesn't tighten the lunge, it's coming on your feet and it's terrible. So in fact, if you send the shoulders away, then he tightens the lunge, he can bend his neck, he's looking at you, good, and then he keeps the bend, you control the shoulders, and he comes to a nice neck extension without any working break. That's much better than to put side reins or Schlafzügel or whatever. So the first thing to teach the horse in hand and at the lunge, it's go away with your shoulders. Go away, tighten the lunge, short at the beginning, longer afterwards. So the whip in the back like that, and no, it's to the shoulders. Like that. You lift it, the horse should know what it means. Go away. Then whip behind to go forward, whip in front if you really need to stop him. So the whip is much more than something to frighten the horse and send him forward. Much more. It should be an aid.
Can I ask a question to that?
Hmm?
What I experienced in my lessons is that many students happen to have a problem on the hollow side because especially when they ride fleshy on both sides, the horse is overbending at the base of the neck but looking still to the other side, so the first part of the neck is not really properly bent. So when they want to turn off the track, the horses become actually finally in the end heavy on the inside shoulder, on the hollow side, because the front leg doesn't step sideways into the direction, so the front is not leading anymore into the direction, but they roll over the shoulder finally.
This is horses who have to return to the flexions.
Yes.
Back, come 90 degrees in alt, 90 degrees nice bend.
Yeah. Because when you do it in walk, they always try in the fleshy part still to look to the sideways, to the direction that they go, and then they become crooked in the neck.
Yeah. So
they still keep the weight on the inside shoulder.
Before the fleshy droit, it's probably they need more complete and better quality lateral flexions.
Because the counter bend, they can do it perfectly well in counter bend. It's with the true bend where it's difficult to.
These horses to maybe in hand already, but also to stop.
Okay.
A bit flexion, walk a bit, stop again, and
Okay.
cut in pieces.
Yeah. Okay.
Good. So, in terms, if we talk about turning, what says the horse? The shoulders are deciding. If the balance of the shoulders doesn't change, there is no turn. You can do whatever you want with your little legs.
Yeah.
Forget. Yeah, but even on a small one. I mean, when the weight is more on the left shoulder, the horse goes left. And good. And there are sometimes, there is a very famous écuyer and a very interesting one. One of the most interesting in my opinion. General Lot would say something wrong in my opinion. He doesn't say many wrong things. And he also, he keeps on very general ideas. He doesn't give any trick or recipe to do that, this and that. Huh? Good. But when he says, for instance, a horse should turn to the left by putting his quarters to the right. So if a horse is refusing to turn left, if your horse is refusing to turn left, it's by pushing the quarters to the right you will make him turning. And then his principle is the legs are the most important. Control the quarters and you will turn. So my first comment is it's not straightness when the horse is supposed to keep straight, even turning. And what is recommending is just confirming what the horse says. If the horse that is refusing to come on the left shoulder by your hands and agreement with what you are doing in the front, when you swing the quarters to the outside, you force him to come on the inside shoulder. So it's confirming that no weight on the left shoulder, no turn. So it's much more simple to educate the front properly. Understand? In extreme case, you can, but anyway, you have to fix the shoulders. If you want to send the quarters out, you have to control the shoulders anyway. Because if they go sideways, the same than the quarters, you don't turn. So it's a strange solution.
Is that the explanation as well, to start rather with the shoulder end than with the trabia?
Yes.
Thank you.
This,
just wanted to have that.
This is also confirming that when you want to teach your horse to go sideways, you have to do it with shoulder in position. Because it's when the horse is bent to the right that is the easiest way, shifting his weight to the left and going to the left. So if he's bent to the right, to teach him to go sideways to the left, it's nothing difficult. You teach him a bit the isolated leg and it's done. So why yielding on the diagonal 35 degrees? Forget. Makes things complicated and nothing else. I saw so many riders working months to do the leg yielding on the diagonal as the judge wants to see it. I mean, it's ridiculous at the end. It doesn't help. The bend to the right helps the horse to shift his weight to the left shoulder, and so he goes left easy. You just have to push the quarters sideways, and it's nothing easier. That's the reason why you teach that to a 3-year-old horse already in hand, before he's ridden. Good. It's also confirming that the proper seat to start canter is outside and not inside. Huh? So, why? Because a horse with this natural bend is offering right lead most of the time. So sit left, don't sit right to start right lead. Good. And so it's interesting because the horse gives you the proper information, and he says there are some rules as considered as the Bible, and they are wrong. The way to turn, it's not a matter of overall bending, forget that. care more about the front and the control of the bend and the shoulders. This is fundamental. When it said, oh, the hands, don't use, just use, concentrate on your seat and your legs. I noticed that people who say that, they use their hands, and a lot, and even an unofficial way. So it's better to know how to use them, educate the horse, than to do a bit the opposite of what is said. And the other thing is, for the canter, the natural seat, if it's natural, it's classical. No? Good. It's outside, not in. You can teach your horse to start sitting in. This is clear. You can do whatever you want. But if you decide for aids which are related to the nature of the horse, it's much easier, and especially when the horse is difficult. And with these ideas, you know that you can bring to an excellent level a difficult horse or a limited one. Otherwise, you need a very talented one. Because the locomotion and balance rules, they are for all horses, not only for the good one. Huh? Good. So, shoulders decide, not the quarters. The horse has to be active, reactive, responsive to your legs, active, and okay. And the back has to swing, and the tail has to move, and everything is working. And because when there are conversations like that, each time I had the same comment. Yes, but you don't talk about the back should work. Yes, okay, it's working, and what? I'm not going to repeat each sentence, but you know, the back keeps working. The back is doing its job, the hind legs as well. But the front has to be in the correct condition, otherwise the rest is not working. Try to teach a child biking, and you just tell him, don't care about the front wheel, just pedal. Use your back and your quarters and it will work. Don't care about the front. Bang, kranken aus. For the horses, the same. I mean, this is ridiculous. Yeah. And it's also hypocritical, because it said, don't care about the front, but side reins, but Schlafzugel, but tight nose bend, but clack, clack, clack. So, I mean, do what you say and say what you do. That's much better. I prefer that, especially when you teach. That's a good idea. Okay? I got mad with that. Having to face all the time this, you are lifting your hands 20 centimeters, oh, it's awful, terrible, poor horse, his back and blah, blah, blah. But like that, riding all the time and with side reins, no comment. Okay, good.
So it's quite interesting, you know, that snake action. So a horse that is contracted on one side will continually go along with a slightly shortened stride on one side and a longer one. So the snake action is not going to be very even.
Yes, that's true.
So then you've got a continually contracted side.
Yes, there is. The horses are, as we are, and all animals. They are not naturally symmetrical. It doesn't exist symmetry. Yeah. So when the horse is asymmetrical in his attitude, he has favorite movement, restricted movement the other side. And so, for instance, he prefers to canter one lead and he doesn't like the other one. He turns short one side, not the other one, and so on. So it's a fundamental part of the training to try to make the horse as symmetrical as possible by making him flexible both sides. So it means to bend him is absolutely fundamental. Yeah. Instead of saying, oh, don't care about the bend, don't bend the neck that much, care about the back. No, forget the back because you cannot do anything on it. You can just let it quiet, not bothering it for nothing, and training the horse so relaxed, in so good balance that the back is doing his job as he has to. Yeah. And that's all. It's already a lot. Good. And yes, when, for instance, when a horse is is asymmetrical and bad trained, he keeps asymmetrical, is even reinforcing his asymmetry, and he can become irregular first and lame afterwards.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
And it's impressive sometimes with horses who are in high difficulties to see sometimes 1 hour flexions properly, unlocking the jaw already, so it makes a change for the horse. It's incredible. And really bending, so in halt, because it's easy, and progressively walking and all that. Sometimes their gaits are changing in 1 hour. It starts changing. And something I want to remind you, because it's a very, even people who know, sometimes they formulate the thing the wrong way. Huh? For instance, this is something I've noticed in dressage books. I don't know if they were correcting it now, I'm not sure. When a horse is naturally bent one side like that, huh? It's something you could see written in the dressage booklets, and the people who are learning like that, even teachers. So the horse is difficult to bend to the left. Why? Because the muscle, he has stiff muscles on the left side. No. Your hand is feeling a resistance. The horse is refusing to yield to your left rein, but the resistance is on the right. It's because the muscles of this side keep short, refuse to stretch, that the horse is not bending. So the reality is the horse has difficulties to bend to the left. It's not because he's stiff on the left, it's because he's contracted on the right. It's not the same. So, especially if you have a strong hand and you start pulling, it will be worse. Huh? So, it's important to make the right diagnosis. Huh? Good. Something else about the shoulders. When a horse is jumping, how is he doing? What is taking off first?
Front.
Yes. No choice. And even when you have very slow motion pictures on the film, you can see, and on some photos, you can see, and especially it's clear on big jumps, that the forelegs and the shoulders are already off the ground and quite high, that the hind legs were not yet touching the ground. So it's not the engagement of the hind legs which makes the shoulders rising up. They cannot yet because they are not on the ground. It's the shoulders doing bang, and then the horse can engage because the shoulders are up, and after that he can, but he comes on the proper angle to jump with his shoulders, nothing else. So, yes. And it's interesting because what is a talented, what is typical of a real talent in jumping in a horse? His capacity to do that, to hit the ground very strongly and quick and tack. He can have quarters like that, with an incredible power. If he has not the being up, nothing. Through the fence, yes, maybe, but above, no. So that's the reason why sometimes there are horses with a strange conformation, not even nice or small, and they jump incredibly because they have this talent and this reflex. The same talented horses for passage. And this is what, I mean, the selection of the dressage horses nowadays. So the important thing is the back and the quarters, but they are selected on doing that. Yes, and even too much, because at the end it's a kind of a caricature. But the same, as long as a horse doesn't find a way to lift his shoulders high enough one after the other, there is no passage possible. So that's the reason why untalented horse, a lot on the shoulders, short movement, jambette, Spanish walk, passage, ping, it's done. Because you give the horse what he needs to start doing it. Though, if you are convinced that he should come from engaging the hind legs, you will use strong legs and spurs and strong hands in order that he doesn't run away, and the poor guy will understand nothing. So it opens windows to understand how it works. And with that, people should stop thinking, the jambette, Spanish walk, and school walk, things like that. It's circus. It's not circus, it's extremely classical. Because the horses need that to jump, to use their shoulders properly in order to collect. And it's a fact that little horses looking completely untalented, they can come to a very nice passage thanks to that. So, in jumping, what is deciding, what is initially making the jump, good or not, it's the shoulders. Again, it's the front. As long as the horse is not jumping quarters first and landing on the hind legs the other side, it will be like that. At the end, it's just common sense, but it's strange to see how difficult it is to understand simple things, because we are so indoctrinated by concept that we don't even have the idea to wonder about. And for instance, there is something trainers sometimes do. It's to jump with Schlafzügel. This is a disaster. In order that the horse doesn't lift his head too much in the approach. But with that you can completely discourage a horse from jumping. Because if he cannot lift his head, he cannot lift his withers, he cannot lift his shoulders, he cannot jump. So the guy tries at the beginning, after a while he stops or he's coming through the poles, and it's terrible.
But they think it's to make him bascule.
Yes, but the bascule is afterward. It's not on the takeoff, it's above. So, and for landing it's the same. The horse needs to lift his head in order to minimize the landing thing. And afterward engage the hind legs and go. So that's the same. They should not, to force the horse in keeping the head down is a mistake. So in jumping, again, collecting now. So we said it already with passage. I mean, if the horse cannot lift his shoulders, he cannot come to passage. Yeah, if you bought him an incredible price because he has a pedigree, incredible, and he's moving like that, whatever you do, even riding him like a potato sack. You block him like that, you flex him a lot, he's putting him on the shoulders, but you put him under pressure with your leg, and it will be awful, but he will move. And the problem is that some people, and even judges, sometimes say, wow, great. No, it's flashy, it's exhibitionism, but it's not classical at all. And a normal horse doesn't move like that. something to remind you, it's in this DVD and in the previous one as well. How is the horse collecting? I'm talking about collection in forward movement, not on the spot. On the spot, okay, the horse is shortening his bearing basis from behind. It takes the hind legs underneath a bit, lowers the quarters, and good. Which is okay if the front legs don't come underneath the same, because the horse is too low. Otherwise, you cancel everything. So, I'm not talking about collection, extreme collection on the spot or nearly on the spot, such as the canter you need for pirouette or piaffe. Then it's clear. But the horses, they collect the gaits in forward movement. How do they come to collected trot or to collected canter? How do they come to the most collected trot you can imagine, which name is passage? By shortening the bearing basis from behind. Look at photos. Never. And what is incredible, that this rule, absolute rule, is repeated all the time. If you want to improve the balance of the horse in the trot, half parade. Why? Because your hands, sit and legs engage the hind legs under the body, so the hind legs will come more near the center of gravity and blah 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 blah. Nothing of that happens. Because, so, I don't know if they were keeping this drawing after my horribly critical book. I don't know if in the new version of the FN book, if there is still this drawing showing the horse in the trot with a short bearing base. Huh? Because this is a drawing, but it cannot be a photo. You don't find one. And we know that, for instance, in passage, which is the most collected trot, so the horse is more or less high, and good, okay. So he's doing that, more or less high, but good. It's generally something like that, and it can be even more. Something like that. And it's already not bad. So where is the flexion of the back? Where is the lowering of the quarters? Where is the shortening from behind? There is none. This distance between both this diagonal bearing basis is longer than the natural one when the horse is standing still with vertical legs. It's at either the same, but most of the time longer. Collection, not shortening from behind. This is terrible. I'm going to suicide. Yeah, but it's like that. I mean, and you can watch thousands of photos with any kind of rider or free. The horses, when they collect, I repeat, when they collect in forward movement, it means when they are less forward and more bouncy, they never shorten from behind. Never.
The drawing really reminds me to pictures where the horses actually are on the forehand with the front end, like, which is not collected in the end, of course, because the front end is behind the whip, even more behind.
No, but this is passage, it's in forward, but it's normal that this leg is behind.
No, yeah, I know, but you remember the drawing which you were correcting of Heuschmann?
Yeah.
Yes. And where you were saying that the diagonal pair on the ground is always parallel. They're not always parallel, but they're not always parallel because the front, of course, comes behind because the horse is actually on the shoulders. It's not
in piaffe, but in forward movement generally
in trot. You can have in trot not a parallel on the ground, but then it's because the horse is on the shoulders and the front leg comes behind. It's not because the hind is more forward. You know?
Wait. There has been articles or books in which people who absolutely wanted to demonstrate that yes, a horse can be short on a short bearing basis in forward movement.
Yeah.
But you know,
it's not connected.
No. No. You know what is the trick? This photo is made on a horse who is too much forward to be in piaffe and not enough to be in passage. It's in between.
Yeah, okay.
In between. So you see some dressage horses doing that. They go forward too much to be in piaffe, not enough to be in real passage. So they do. So you see that tack. It's completely artificial. A horse never does that on his own. It's ridiculous. And when I do it, you are smiling. Yeah? So it's a trick to say, ah, look, it happens.
Yeah.
No. So the horse is it's awful. Horses do that when they are forced to do it in a very special situation, and it doesn't demonstrate anything. So it's important to know, because there are tricky people who show that and say, look, you have to explain what is that. Because when a horse is in trot, clearly in trot, collective, bing, these joints are flexing more than usual. Yes, but not with engagement. The horse is doing that because he's bouncing high, and when he comes on the ground, the weight is flexing all the joints, and it's like a trampoline, bing, bong, bing, bong. Yeah. When you know, it's interesting things like that. When you want to bounce a lot, you are on a trampoline. You want to bounce more with a slower rhythm. Do you shorten the trampoline or do you make it wider?
That's a good one.
Yes, if it's a small one, it's ding, 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 ding. So, and then, but the horse is well using his back. Yes, well using. What does it mean in this case? It means he's lifting it when he's leaving the ground, but I'm sorry to say that, he's hollowing it when he comes on the ground.
Is that the reason?
And that's the reason why you feel that the horse is moving you a lot.
Is that the reason why a horse I had in training with a sway back, she could do perfectly well passage?
Yeah, and jump difficult.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That's quite normal. That is your job. It's your job to find a compensation. And that's the reason why frequently when you have a horse, even an excellent one, a wonderful one, but with a short, strong back, passage, not easy. And horses who can be criticized because their back is a little long, but a back can be a little bit long and the horse can use it properly if he's well ridden. This one, often they easily come to spectacular passage. A very short back with a lot of muscles is not an advantage. This is not true. This is also a simple idea. More muscles on the back and that is great. No, it's not true. It's not. Too long and weak and falling down, it's also not good. Okay, but a back long enough and flexible any direction, and with the useful muscles because trained properly, right? That's better like that. Are the classical dancers short with a lot of muscles on the back? I never saw that. For catch as I can, yes, but they're not that elegant. Yes. And so, in collection, what is deciding? The front. It's not the engagement of the hind legs. So something else important as a conclusion. Is it the engagement of the hind legs towards the center of gravity which is provoking the raising of the neck? No, because there is none. So on no account lift the head of the horse with your hands. Okay, what else? You can just do it properly with your hands. So it's the role of the hands in correct education to teach the horse how to come high. And the truth, when it's said, for instance, on no account lift the head of the horse with your hands, but this is not what you're doing. We don't lift the head of the horse with our hands. With our hands, we ask the horse to lift his head and his neck with his muscles. I mean, it's important to express the things as they are. And when the horse is educated, yes, when the horse is educated to that, you do it so discreetly that nobody can see anything. But when the guy is putting 100 kilos on the bit, I mean, that is much better than pulling and pushing. Especially pushing, if you intend to raise the neck by engaging the hind legs, you can do it years. It will never work. So, in forward movement, the reality is, it's never the engagement of the hind legs which can provoke the raising of the neck. This is a legend. So, the hands have their job, the legs have their job, the seat has its job, and you do the most clever combination of them. But it's not true that the legs and the seat do everything and forget the hands. This is bullshit. And that's the reason why you find so many special instruments to force the horses. It's the proof that it's wrong. As each time you need a more severe instrument and many to create something, it means you don't get the right solution. I mean, if you go to an educator, you go to a specialist educating difficult children, and you come in his working place, and there are torture instruments along the walls. I mean, you leave. You don't stay there with your difficult child. But it's the same. I mean, if the guy has knowledge and solution, it doesn't need that. Good. But naturally, in collected walk, it's the same. In collected walk, how can a horse collect his walk? Not by engaging the hind legs. They cannot do it. They cannot shorten. So it's by lifting his shoulders. And then the walk becomes diagonal. Ting, 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 ting. And it's the definition of school walk. And if you look at horses free, when it's not that frequent, okay, but when nobody is doing anything special. You can see that, for instance, with thoroughbred in hand, or even with a jockey on the back, with the legs like that, you know, cannot do that, when they are turning before the race. If they are excited for any reason, when a horse becomes showy in the walk, it doesn't go trot or canter. They do school walk. They don't do anything complicated with corresponding to the definition of collected walk that nobody does. They do that. Walk like a panther. This is the way they do. So why should we try to invent something because of the famous engagement of the hind legs? I mean, this is, forget. But when a horse is doing school walk, comment of the specialist, so people who don't know, they think, oh, it's nice, they are right. And specialists, circus. Horses don't do circus on their own. They do according to their nature. And when the horses become showy in the walks, this is what they are doing. More or less brilliant, but this is what they are doing. So again, what is making the school walk, the collected walk, we say school walk because when it's the extreme, the collection of the walk and the school walk originate in the shoulders. If the horse is in walk and you urge him with your little legs all the time because you want to engage your hind legs, you will get a quick walk, short walk, horrible. And it could be that it ends up with spacing. So much better to let the quarters quiet, just to use the legs when the horse is not active and forward enough, but for the rest, it's lifting the shoulders and having long movement. Shoulders this side, once again. You know, and it's quite normal that the shoulders decide, because at the end of this long balancing pole is the mouth. We communicate with the mouth. Very near the mouth is the brain, and this is at the end of this balancing pole. So if we want communication, be understood, and proper balance, we have to play with that in the front. Yeah. Things don't originate from behind. And anyway, and even over-talented people, when you teach, especially when you teach a horse, if you want to create the things with your legs, to do something here with your leg, you first need a control on the front. Because while using your legs to engage, you have to prevent the horse from speeding up, or turning, or doing things you don't want. So, the idea that you use your legs and your seat and you don't mind with the hands, it's not realistic at all. For instance, when you want to swing the quarters sideways, it works if you can fix the shoulders. If you cannot keep them there, you do nothing. So anyway, the control of the front is fundamental and comes first. Good. And I could go on with examples like that. And last and not least, there has been some specialists of neurosciences experimenting, and it's not only for horses, but it's here on horses. There is a the gaits are depending on neuroinformations, and comment on dit, influx nerveux, the nerves information. It's running along, it's there, good, but here at the base of the neck, there is a central pattern, central
nerve system.
Yes, which is organizing the impulse to the legs, to the front legs. To say, this one yes, this one no, this one yes, this one no, I mean, good. And it goes on along the spine, so the information can run both directions, and there is another one here, organizing the impulse to the both hind legs. Yeah, but what they experimented is that it starts here. So the final simple conclusion is, in all gaits, all movements, the forelegs make the decision, the hind legs react to what the forelegs did. So again, in terms of neuro function, it starts in the front.
It's the same why for a horse it's easy to go first with the front and afterwards with the hind legs over a lying pole. Go backwards is much more difficult for a horse and more frightening the horse.
There is another reason, is that a horse is not made to go back because he has to move to his blind angle. He sees nothing behind. So it's always an important exercise in terms of balance, locomotion, but also confidence, because when a horse is accepting to go back relaxed, it means he relies on you a lot. Because he goes to, if a predator is behind, I'm dead. They are not made for that.
When they were studying this, what you were telling, did they say anything about ataxia when the horses have some, where is it damaged?
Maybe, but I didn't read that. In ataxia, it's when this is completely disturbed,
you call...
Naturally, if you completely spoil the balance of the horse and its locomotion by, for instance, overflexing a lot, roll-cure and company, you can, the consequence can be that you completely disturb this, because this works if the horse has normal conditions.
How do you call these 2 points in French?
I don't know.
I
In
think
English,
I don't
it's
have the correct translation.
central pattern generator.
Can you write it down, please? You translate it.
Something like that. You find that, for instance, in an interesting book, Riding Sciences. It's been written by an Australian couple. I don't remember their name, and they are very specialized in all that things. I don't remember their name right now.
Could I have one more question, which is not connected to this? There is a physiotherapist in the Czech Republic who started to publish articles about bending of horses and so on, and she says that actually bend the horses, to use the pronoun bend by while riding, it's actually damaging a horse because it's causing some scissors forces in the belly, and actually the people should not bend the horses much because it's...
Yeah, but you know, I noticed that it's some years, there are 2 factions. It's a new riding, ethological riding. So they are very important knowledge in ethology. But when you see what is the result of what is their name, ethological riding, it's a disaster. Because they have no idea about balance, no idea about locomotion, and the horses are ridden with the reins completely like that, and with maybe Western saddle or whatever, doesn't matter. But I mean, it can be nice, gentle, kind, whatever you want, but it's extremely limited result. Because ethology is a very important science, but you should not forget at once locomotion, balance, and the whole knowledge of the riding culture. I mean, you cannot just ethology and it's true. And the same for biomechanics. There are biomechanics everywhere. If you want to be taken seriously, dressage, biomechanical. And if you look, most of the time, the biomechanic is used to confirm official dogmas. So, it's a lot of muscles with complicated things and names long like that. But overflex horses, when you look at the pictures, strange. And with some knowledge in biomechanics and using muscles and this and that, you can defend whatever you want. It's too complex, especially forward movement with a change of balance and this and that. And if this person says you should not canter the horse 1 hour with the neck bent 90 degrees, I agree. Is it what she means? I don't know. But in the basic education of the horse, to bend the horse in halt 90 degrees, I mean in halt, they do it just to have a look what happens there. I don't know why it should be bad. Good. And when they want to scratch their back with the teeth, they even bend 180 degrees. Good. In forward movement, to bend 45 degrees is absolutely no problem. It would be a problem, the horse would tell you, you know. And it's even, I think it's people who judge things they were never doing, because when you feel how a horse is improving, when he starts accepting this 45 degrees bend in walk and trot, it's incredible. So I don't know how it should be bad. But, you know, if the rider has still in the brain limited bend the body, he comes to conclusions like that. He has to. It's automatic.
Confirm the bend through the whole body.
They confirm the theory.
Yeah, actually,
It's anyway more comfortable than to fight against it.
actually she's teaching the seat on the horse because she's a human physiotherapist who rides as well, and she's quite focused on this. And she's also teaching people not only to bend much, but also use the inner leg to push the belly away, because otherwise the horse.
That's it. That's it.
But
you push the belly away, but the belly comes back even if you don't want. I mean, this is ridiculous. The belly comes back and is pushing your leg at each stride, bing boom, and don't think you push the belly. You let your leg follow the belly. So if you give a push, it's at that moment you do it. Okay. And if the horse is crossing the legs, he will push his belly a bit more, but the belly comes back anyway.
So maybe the snake action.
And then pseudo-scientifical conclusions come on this, but they just confirm bullshit.
the trouble is that she's from a very recognized school or a professor, and they go abroad, they go to America, to China to teach human physiotherapy.
Yes, and with Facebook and tralala, you can go wherever you want. The problem is, and it happened to me to talk to people like that, and I mean, I'm perfectly respecting them. I mean, they have knowledge on muscles and this and that, and more than I. But there is a moment, I have to say, how many horses did you school up to collection in all the gates? Or, okay, silence. How many horses of different kind, many did you school in all the basics? Silence. We talk about riding. So biomechanics, yes, ethology, yes, but riding. So at the end, there are specialists like that making long demonstrations. They never school the horse, and sometimes they're not even correct riders. Not schooling. So sorry, but I mean, demonstrations are nice, informations are good, but they have to be applied to doing. And this is the actual disaster in riding. That there are more and more. When somebody wants to be taken serious, he's putting ethology or biomechanic in the title of the book, and sometimes bum. But most of the time, you read, you look at the photos and everything, same than usual. No difference. But it sounds nice, because you know, it sounds very serious, like biomechanic. Oh, it's scientific, it's fantastic.
Yeah, people share it a lot on Facebook, their articles. And
they have time to be on Facebook, because, I mean, when you don't write, you have time to be on Facebook. Spend more time on the back of the horses, less on the computer. This is my advice. No, but I mean, I don't refuse the knowledge which can explain something. But the knowledge, first of all, you can use it, you can twist it and use it as you want. The knowledge and even science cannot replace the practice. It's a connection between scientific data, reliable one, you have to select, practicing a lot successfully, riding culture, locomotion, balance, and an amount of knowledge like that. At the end, is spend at least half of your life just doing that, and maybe you start understanding a little bit. So when people are 25 or 30, they were never schooling a horse, and they explain how it should be, I'm sorry, but... So if I talk with them, I'm first listening, and there is a moment I say, listen, school some horses. School some horses, refusing constraining instruments. No tight nose bend. no side rails, nothing like that. If your knowledge, scientific knowledge, is top, use it, and you will school any horse, talented, less talented, difficult, quicker than the others. Show me that. And then we talk about something else. There is a moment people have to be serious. For instance, in Germany we had the famous case with Eichmann. Well known in this world, working with the FN, good. Look to the conclusions he was able to do with his knowledge of biomechanics.
Yeah, so
explaining them. Yeah, good. That's the reason why I was focusing on that, to say, listen, take the things as he says. What is the result? Something, I mean, the horse is a monster. It's not impossible. And it's strange to me. I cannot reproach anybody not to be a rider, experienced rider, high level. But when somebody has a scientific formation and is losing the most simple common sense, it's too much. It's necessary to be a bit critical, to say, what did I say? Yes. Extrapolation, how is it working? What is the conclusion? No, this is not possible. But they are so tight to dogmas that, I mean, I think this is the definition of a dogma. I mean, I don't remember who said, the less you know, the more you need to believe. Good. So I stop on this, I will not do better. People believe in. So, and each time you put it in question with some strong argument, they are horrified. And they always try to find a justification to this bloody thing. Because they keep safe, they feel safe. It's hard to contest the things, to wonder about, to say, sorry, no, probably it's not like that. Because, you know, you put yourself in question when you do that at first. I mean, if I came to these ideas, it was not like that, suddenly one morning, due to God in person coming on me. It was not a vision. I regret, could have been interesting, but it's when during, already from the beginning, it was my tendency. I started riding being 20, doing a bit of scientific studies, so I was very interested in understanding what I'm doing. So I wanted that the teachers tell me why I should do like that. And I have to say that I was very disappointed most of the time. So I was reading, not the results of the last competition in the magazine, but masters. Naturally, I didn't understand anything, but I was trying. And afterward, I was trying to get information in terms of balance, locomotion, and this and that, to try to understand. So when you do that, you try to explain why you fail completely. You try to find better solutions. You accept to train any kind of horse, especially the one the others don't want. And yeah, with all this amount of knowledge and data, you progressively make a selection, put them together, this works, this not, it's putting the whole thing in question, and again and again and again, until you have something steady. And you know, it's difficult because you are putting yourself in question each day. You don't put the others in question, yourself, and the horses are putting yourself in question. And naturally, the day you know much more clearly, you start saying, no, I disagree with you, even if it's an official idea, sorry, it's not true. And then you again have problems. But I prefer problems with them than with my horse, you know. It's always difficult not to keep in the flock. You know, people don't like that. The black sheep has always a hard life. but it's much nicer. Yes, but alone.
Yeah.
No, and then it's nice to have a flock, but a good one.
Yeah.
A better one if possible. Just black sheep until there is a white one putting everything in question. Yes, that's it. I know because there are people who said so a lot, sometimes facing me, most of the time behind. They, yeah, but I mean, it's ridiculous. He's losing months and years working on horses who have no capacity. No, I was like that, learning 2,000 more than they know. Because if you specialize in over-talented horses to school quickly in order to win Grand Prix, and then if the horse is broken by another one, you learn things, but very few. It's a point of view, like this. If the horse is good, I agree. Right? I have no problem with that. Okay, that's all. That's too much.